Ty Bartellin with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we head to our friends over at the Mooney Cardinals with their head coach on the boys' side, Carey Palermo, joining me today. Coach, how are we doing today?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm not doing too bad myself. It's practice season, it's scrimmage season officially for basketball teams. Talking about that and what you're seeing from your boys, I mean, it's always been a competitive team. I mean, you've had a lot of string of success with this Mooney team the last few years. What's standing out for you in practice season right now?
So very competitive right now. The bulk of our team, JV, varsity, and freshmen, play football. So we push scrimmages back. Like, we haven't had a scrimmage yet. We'll have one tomorrow, our first one. So we really wanted to give our kids time to condition, get in shape, and whatnot. From what our seeing, our guys, they're very hungry. Like you said, we've had a lot of success. A lot of the guys that are that were sophomores that are going to be juniors this year, and a couple guys that are going to be seniors. They've had to sit and watch some of that success, and they're very hungry to get out there and kind of make their own name for themselves, and make their own piece of Cardinal Mooney basketball history. The biggest thing we've been focusing on, which has actually been refreshing, like for us and our coaching staff, is just the fundamentals, the basics of what we do, and teaching our system, and little things. We had a very, very experienced team last year, so expectations were very, very high for them. One of the good things was when they came back, there wasn't really a lot of teaching we had to do, or there was always teaching, but there's not as much as we have to do right now. So it's kind of fun right now. I like the teaching aspect of it, the process. I think our kids have a very good understanding of the process, that we're going to be better, in December than we are right now. And obviously winning helps over the last couple of years for the kids to trust into that. So that's what I'm seeing. It's just a buying into the process and just effort. We have a very, we still have very high expectations. I don't know if people around the area have as high of expectations for us. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people.
I mean, I think you could probably surprise a lot of people too if they're underestimating you, because this has been one of the most quality, I think, smaller division school basketball teams that I've seen in the last few years. Let's talk about this group of kids too. I mean, you said they're going to be hungry. There's a lot of guys looking to make a name for themselves. Let's learn the names of these guys that are going to be on the floor for you this year.
So I'll go with our only returner with major varsity minutes is a senior guard for us, Nico Genova. Very talented kid, shoots it at a very high level. Very good playmaker with the ball. Again, he's the guy that people would be most familiar with, and he's doing a really good job of leading and teaching the younger kids in our program. We have two other seniors, Marvin Dubas, who was a JV guy last year, probably would have been a varsity guy, but he transferred the year prior, so he had to sit out the second half of the season. He's about 6'4", very wide, strong kid, very good footwork, could finish with both hands. He's having a really good November for us. Another kid, Walker Jones, moved up here, him and his brothers from South Carolina. He's about 6'4", lefty kid, very long and athletic. Both these guys are football guys, so they're very physical, just getting back into it. A couple juniors that lettered for us, but they lettered just because they got in a lot in the games. Dante Turner, very good shooter, can play multiple positions. Very talented kid. Kingston Powell, football kid, very athletic, very long, very athletic. Shot it extremely well at the end of last year, and he's really picked up where he left off. These kids that I'm naming had very good summers for us. Just showed a lot of promise. I'm going to go with the guys that returning. Dom Letlow, a sophomore, just another big physical kid. He's about 6'3", 6'4", long football kid. Very skilled, very athletic, can finish with both hands. Ford Stacy, another sophomore, is about 6'2", can shoot the ball extremely well, can play multiple positions. Junior Dennis Clark came out, didn't play last year, football kid, very athletic, handles it very well. I could see him playing a lot for us. I'm missing one kid, Grayson Dubas, Marvin's younger brother. He's a junior. He's about 6'4", probably has about a 6'7" wingspan. He's hurt right now. He'll be back in a couple weeks. He had a great fall, great summer for us. Could finish with both hands, can shoot it, can play the 2 through the 5 position for us. And there's a number of other players that we're expecting a lot of. Brady Desmond might have a shot to get some playing time. Just a physical football kid. He's about 5'11". His brothers played for me. They were very good. So we're expecting a lot of those kids.
You guys aren't lacking in numbers and in talent, it seems
No.
like. And
This is the biggest team we've ever had size-wise.
Really?
We're big. We have 4 players over 6'4".
I thought the last year's team had some decent size too. We saw a little bit all around too, especially in the post. But this year too, all around size too. That's got to be a refreshing sight for you too, something new. Do you think the identity of this team changes at all? What are some of the strengths you're going to kind of be leaning on to get your wins this year?
So last year, we were very great playmaking. We had Jabri Carter, Ashton O'Brien, Rocco Turner. These guys can make plays with the ball, and we had, they all can shoot it. Rocco and Ashton are the number 1 and number 2 3-point leaders in school history. Ashton was right around 1,000 points. Jabri's getting 20 minutes a game right now at Westminster playing. You had Eddie Nieves. He's at Bethany right now. He was 6'4", could shoot it. And then Nick Pregabon and Will Desmond were very skilled kids. I don't know if we are as skilled as last year. We are more physical and scrappier than last year. We're really going to work inside out. Whereas last year we wanted to dribble, penetrate, and kick and beat you from the outside. We're going to get the ball. We're going to make a very big effort to get the ball inside because we have 3 guys we could really dump the ball inside to that can really hurt you. We got guys that could shoot it, but it's where we had like different guards who can make plays, handling the ball, getting into the lane. I think we'll get the ball in the lane more by dumping it into the post.
Let's talk about the schedule too, that you always schedule up. I know you guys play in the small Steel Valley Conference, only 3 other teams, but one of those teams made it to the state Final Four. And then, of course, East and Cheney are not pushovers. They're always athletic every year. Talk about that conference, but talk about the non-conference schedule because I know you guys always bolster it up. You like to prepare yourselves prior to tournament time.
So, yeah, our conference, it's not big, but, we all know each other. Youngstown is a tough town, scrappy kids. So you're going to get those kids' best effort every game, and obviously, us and Ursuline have had a lot of we had a lot of postseason success last year, Ursuline making to the state. So, you're going to get quality talent, good coaching and whatnot. Our non-conference schedule, we play the All-American Conference. Those schools, Harding, Fitch, Boardman, Canfield, Howland, they've all had tremendous seasons the last couple of years. So as far as this area is concerned, we play the best teams. Out of area, what am I thinking? Canfield made the regional final last year. Ursuline beat them in the regional final. So that's another very good program who's had postseason success. We played JFK. They made the regional final in Division IV. They were just as good as anybody. Out of town, we're playing Elyria, D1 school out of Cleveland, who's very good in athletic. We'll actually play them at the Canton Fieldhouse in one of the shot clock games. We'll have a 35-second shot clock for that game. We are playing Canton Central Catholic. We played them in the regional last year. My mind is so
when blank. You have so many, when you have bolster it up, it's
we play Struthers, who's been good. Our scrimmages, we play Gilmore Academy. We'll scrimmage Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary's. We're playing a pretty serious schedule and scrimmage schedule.
When you talk about that, though, the guys growth-wise, you'll see it from game 1 to game 22 is usually tremendous when you go through a schedule like that. Just talk about this team, too. What you want to see growth-wise from your guys from game 1 to game 22 with a lot of guys getting some of that varsity, that game-to-game varsity experience.
You hit the nail on the head. Like, our goal, we want to win every game. I don't want to, we go into games and we put the emphasis on our kids, to execute the game plan, get better every day, and just have that refuse to lose mentality. But we also are very, cognizant of what we have as a school. We're a small school. Most of our kids play multiple sports. So I think I only have one kid in my program that only plays basketball. Don't get me wrong, kids participate in the off season. The kids that play golf, they're there all fall. They're with us all fall, but they're on the golf team. The kids that play baseball, they come as much as they can this summer. The football kids are there in the summer, but we know we're going to miss them for seasons. So we also know the only time we're going to have everybody there consistently is the winter. So we have to put an emphasis on, like, guys, the goal is to get better every day. We want to win every game. We're going to be ticked off if we don't win, but our goal is to be playing our best basketball after Christmas, right? We know we're never going to be peaking in early December, but we want to be peaking, after Christmas in February heading into the tournament. So what do we have to do to get better? Just right now, it's just we're learning our system. A lot of install every day. It's just cleaning up the small details and the little things. And that's not going to happen until you scrimmage a few times, so you play a few games. So, we'll see how we do the first 6 or 7 games, then we'll go from there.
We talk about that too, and you always get the most out of your players, and I think that's one of your skills as well. Only a few coaches I feel like can truly do it like you guys do it. You guys
I
keep the
appreciate
numbers
that.
up. You keep the numbers up there. You have a smaller school, but you keep these kids caring about basketball even in the off season. And I feel like that has to do with the way you're able to connect with them as a coach. What's your secret to being able to connect with these young men too? That sometimes they're willing to listen. Sometimes they may think that they know it all too.
I appreciate it. We have a great staff too. Like, we have a great staff that communicates from freshman to JV to varsity. They don't get enough credit. I think one is understanding their schedule and understanding that they may have baseball, they may have football, but working around them, showing that you care enough. Like today, we practice at 6:15 a.m., right? We have pictures after school today. So we're not going to be at school for 4 hours after school. So I'm like, hey guys, let's go in at 6. Let's get our work done. And then we'll have pictures. You guys can enjoy the rest of the day. Like, it's understanding that there are teenagers and whatnot, but also we're very strict when we're at practice. I'm not probably the easiest coach to play for. Our staff isn't the easiest staff to play for. We give them boundaries. We put rules on them. We don't allow them to not have their practice jersey. We don't allow them to not have their shorts. If they don't have their jersey for a game, we don't go to the coach's office and give them another practice jersey. You don't play till you find it, or you pay for it, or you figure out a way. We don't let them take shortcuts. Kids want that. As much as society doesn't, believe that and wants to make excuses, kids want their boundaries. And once they buy into that and they see that it's only to help them, and they see the success, and I'm not even talking about wins and losses. When they see the success from that, they become attached to that program. I can't tell you how many alumni, kids who played for us, want to come and practice with us, want to come to open gym. When they come home from college on Christmas break, they're all texting me, hey, what time's practice? We want to come there and play against the varsity. We want to that means something. Don't get me wrong. The kids have a lot to do with that as well. Like them, the success of our program is mostly due to our kids. I can't take that away from them. But I think that if you get away from your boundaries and your team rules, if you skip the details, and I see a lot of programs in this area that don't have as much talent, but they're successful because they give their kids boundaries. I see a lot of really talented programs that aren't very successful because they let their kids get away with whatever they want. So that's something we're proud of, and I'm proud that our kids buy into that, because without them and really their parents, we have great buy-in from our parents. They don't get enough credit. Our parents really buy in, and they trust us, and they allow us to coach the way we want to coach.
I know you're a very detail-oriented coach, and like you said, you mentioned your staff. I want to give you that chance to always shout them out, spotlight them, that help you keep those details and help you make sure those little things are clicking.
Yeah, my staff has been phenomenal the past 6 or 7 years. There hasn't been a lot of turnover, if any. It's been my same JV coach, Johnny Mikos. He does an unbelievable job teaching our system. I tell him every year, I don't care about your record. You could go 0-18. I could care less, as long as they understand our system, they understand our rules, they understand how we defend, how we communicate and whatnot, and what work is all about. His assistant coach, Jason Pangio, he's been around for a very long time. He does an amazing job teaching fundamentals. Our JV coaches, Coach Jabri Carter, Coach Jerron Howell, they've been with me for 6-7 years now. I tell them the same thing. I could care less about your record. I want them to compete and be ready to contribute if I have to put them in a varsity game, understanding our system, and they do that. My varsity coaches, Jeff Shaheen, Ralph Naples, they're sort of like my good cops. They smooth everything over with our kids. Jeff handles the offense. Ralph handles the defense. And they're just, all those guys are amazing. I got a kid now, I have a family and all that stuff. So there's times I can't be there, times I'm pulled away. Our program doesn't miss a beat, and they do an amazing job with that.
Yeah, how is that balancing now family life with with this life?
You know what? It's honestly a lot easier than I thought. My daughter loves coming to practice. She's going to be 2 in December 1st. She loves being around the team. The team loves her being there. I think she's made me more of a mellow person. I think she's made me more of a patient coach. To be honest, she's made me a better coach because I'm a lot more patient with the kids, and I understand that. But she likes being active. She likes being around basketball. She likes being around any kind of thing that's active.
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very thankful for that.
If she comes from the Palermo family, I'm sure she's going to be shooting at a hoop here before she
Oh,
turns
yeah.
5.
Yeah, we have a mini hoop that the school bought for like our younger groups
Yeah.
camps that we can lower. So her and I have another coach, Sharon Howell. He has 2 kids now. And, we lower the hoop down and they just love being there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Coach, couple more questions for you. One of them is a theme question I've been asking all coaches this year, and it goes back to the lessons of the game. I mean, you're a teacher of the sport of basketball. You've taught so many countless young minds and helped them relate the sport to their regular life. But I actually want to know what the biggest lesson the sport of basketball taught you.
Taught me is that you have to be accountable and like no one's going to make excuses for you. If you want to do the work and achieve things you can, I always laugh at, look, I'd love for teachers to get paid more. I think it's great. But I sometimes think teachers forget that they don't work for 3 months out of the year and that, you live in a capitalist economy. You could start your own business. You could get another job. You could take on other stuff. You could be more, disciplined with your income. I've learned that with basketball. I wasn't the biggest. I wasn't the fastest. I didn't have the most God-gifted ability, but I could work on different skills. I could be a good ball handler. I could be a better shooter. I could learn the game and understand my role and other guys' jobs in the court so I could be a leader, right? Some of our best players, like think of a kid like last year played for us, Will Desmond. I think he averaged 2 points a game, maybe 4 or 5 rebounds, but he never left the court because he was a great communicator. He was one of our toughest kids. He rebounded. He guarded the other team's biggest player. Without him, we don't win 22 games. We don't go to the regional final. Where does he show up in the postseason accolades? He doesn't. Where does he show up in the stat column in the newspaper? He doesn't. But he understood he can perform a role that made our team succeed. And you could take that to your job. You could take that to your family. When you're going to be a husband and a parent, maybe one of those parents has to work, the other doesn't. That doesn't mean they're not doing their job. That means they're holding down the fort at home. That means they're helping to raise their kid. Maybe they're helping with parents and whatnot. I just think sports, especially team sports, are some of the greatest teachers of life than we have in our society. Like, I'm not saying like math isn't important. It isn't, but you don't get that from learning algebra. You learn how to problem solve, but you don't learn other stuff that sports can teach you.
No doubt. No doubt. I'm a firm believer of that as well, Coach. And I guess final question for you now. Basketball in the high school realm, boys and girls, reminds me of Thanksgiving because it always happens right around that. The opening tip-offs right around there. So another question I've been liking to ask coaches, I want you to shout out your community, shout out your first game, let the community know why they need to be there to support the team this year. But I also need you to shout out your favorite Thanksgiving Day dish.
So for our basketball team, our community, they've experienced a lot of success. I would keep those standards high. Why do you want to come out and watch this new team? Because there is new faces. There is new kids out there getting a chance to compete. And you get to see how this program moves from one generation of players to another. Our first game is November 29th at home. It's the day of the November 30th at home. It's the day of the Ohio State-Michigan game. So it's at night. I think we're planning on JV. It might be varsity only. Go watch the game. Come to the game after. You're going to see a team that works together, that won't get outworked, that will value the team over the individual player. You'll see a team after the game. They'll clean up the bench after the game. They won't take them being in that gym and being in that school for granted. They will play for the name on the front of the jersey, Cardinal Mooney, more than anything. If you come watch us practice, on the back of our practice jersey, it'll say culture, it'll say team, it'll say family. They understand the importance of that. If you want to come in our locker room, you'll notice that it's clean. They appreciate and they don't take for granted what the people before them have sacrificed and what their parents are sacrificing for them to go to a great school like that. And I think that's what embodies what high school athletics is all about. My favorite dish, I'd probably have to say stuffing. I love the stuffing, maybe with a little gravy on top.
That's the
Mix
front
it with
runner
mashed
right now.
potatoes. Yeah, there's nothing like that. And
Yeah,
honestly, like what's underrated about Thanksgiving is the next day.
the
Turkey
leftovers.
sandwiches,
Yeah.
ham sandwiches, the leftovers. I think that's doesn't get enough credit. The day of Thanksgiving, I think it's honestly a little overrated. Maybe there's some relatives
Yeah.
there, some in-laws you don't want to see.
Yeah.
You have to deal. There's a lot of people in your house. Maybe they don't take their shoes off.
You you
That
get to
can
kick
rub you the
back and
wrong
be
way. It rubs
comfortable the
me the
day
wrong way.
after.
Right. There's a lot of cleaning that goes on after. So I would say the next day is very underrated.
All right, so it's about the stuffing, but it's the next day stuffing for Carey Palermo.
That's right.
I love to see it, Coach. I also love to see your basketball team year in and year out. I can't wait to see what the Cardinal Mooney boys look like out there on the hardwood, and I believe within due time we're going to see each other. We'll cross paths here very soon.
I appreciate it.
All righty, Coach. It's been a first edition of Coach's Corner with Carey Palermo.